Dreams do not have a filter that your normal, polite, waking self puts up.
Welcome to the hidden meaning of dreams with Sweet Georgia Pam.
It does matter what the dreamer themselves associates with those things that come up in the dream.
Spiritual director, dream expert, author, and educator, Sweet Georgia Pam is here to remind us that dreams are the answer. They're always with you. They know you better than you know yourself, and they're always trying to tell you the truth.
There's some back and forth here between you and some awareness.
And now your host, Melissa Carter.
SweetGeorgiaPam.com is the website where you can find all about who? Sweet Georgia Pam. There you can find a free guide called 6 Nights to Better Dream Recall. You can also find Pam on social media. Her social media handle is Sweet Georgia Pam. Makes total sense. You can DM her anytime. And again, if you're watching on YouTube, we would love for you to leave a description of your dream in the comments. We may use it in a future show, like we do on TikTok a lot. Pam, who is a superstar there. But we have a guest today, and I'm so excited. So, Pam, I'm going to let you introduce her.
Brilliant. Hi, Melissa, by the way. I just want to say hi, honey. How are you?
Hi, love.
Okay, good. Good. Now, on to the guest. We have Dr. Willis with us. Lynyetta and I go way back. We are dear friends. Melissa is the same thing. We just clicked. She and I just clicked. And we work together sometimes, and we just chat sometimes. And I just adore her. So Dr. Willis is a transformational life coach. She does relationship dynamics with people, and she's got some amazing programs. And I'm actually, Lynyetta, I'm going to let you do your own intro so you can make sure to point people in the right direction right now.
Yes. Hi. Hello. It's funny you call it work. It never feels like work with you. It's just play, man. We just play together all the time. Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Lynyetta Willis. I'm a psychologist and a family coach. And I like to say I help frustrated families break free from what I like to call stable misery in their parenting and their partnership. So that sense where there's nothing really burning down, but there's this sense of unfulfillment and repetitive, unhelpful habits and things like that you can't just find a way to get free of those patterns. I have a parenting group called Triggered to Transform because I am all about helping parents who want to raise their kids differently from how they were raised. And I also work with couples. And if you want to know more about me, get on my email list, please go to healingstablemissouri.com. That's healingstablemissouri.com. And my handle on most of the social media platforms is Dr. Dr. L is in Ladybug Willis, Willis. And I'm going to start getting up on TikTok because it looks like fun. And Pam's going to coach me over there.
Yes. Yeah. Come play on TikTok. Let's just kind of take our play and move it to this other platform. That's awesome. Yay. All right. Well, then, did you bring a dream with you today?
Yes. So I had this dream that I was getting married. Hopefully to my husband. I don't know. I never actually saw who I was marrying, but I was getting married in a hotel. And Beyonce was also getting married that same day in the same hotel. And I don't know. She was either getting married an hour before me or an hour after me. I can't really remember. But I remember I wanted to invite her to my reception because I think at some point in the dream, we had a very brief interaction. And I was like, oh, I would love to invite her to my reception. But I didn't want to seem like a fangirl. So I was like, how do I play this cool and invite her to my reception at the same time? And at what point before her wedding, she had this huge parade. It was almost like this, I don't know, maybe like Egyptian sort of vibe. And she was they had her raised up on this bed. And they were carrying her through the street and I was just like, oh, that's interesting. So yeah, that was my dream. Me and Beyonce were getting married on the same day, same hotel.
When you said, oh, that's interesting, I dropped in. I'm like, that's an interesting choice for your wedding, Beyonce, to choose a parade for yourself on a bed through the streets.
Cutting off traffic. You could be carried on a bed.
Okay. All right. Brilliant, friend. So we have talked before, or I've talked on the podcast before about celebrities and dreams. And so the first question I want to ask you is, what character traits do you associate with Beyonce. So if you could only list 3 to 5, what are your like top descriptors for her as character traits? What kind of a person is she?
Mm-hmm. You know, it's really funny. I don't own one Beyonce album. Like she's fascinating, but I don't own, like, I'm not, not really like, yay, you know, but what I associate her with is strength, sensuality, and all the positive ways that you view that word and that essence. Professional, not focused. There's a word. I mean, yes, focused, but like extremely creative, like off the charts creative. Hardworking, I guess. That doesn't quite capture what I'm trying to say, but like that's probably the closest thing I can get to it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. When we're doing dream work, what we want to do is
I got it. About business. That's what's coming up. Like that about business. Like she's about business. She's about getting her stuff done. If she says she's going to be there, she's going to be there. I don't know this. I've never been to a concert. She might cancel every concert. I don't know, but that's just what I associate her with. Like she's about business.
That's what your dreaming mind is using as a stand-in. So the more you can dial it in, the more insight you can get into why Beyonce is having a wedding and the same day you are in the same hotel you are with an hour difference, which is that's an interesting detail to me. So already, since you and I do this sometimes and you have that psychology view of this, you might already be leaning towards some observation or some interpretation. What I'm hearing is about business, strength, sensuality, professional creativity, hardworking. My love, what I know about you is that is like this part, this is what you embody. Will you just take a minute and soak that in? Just like allow that to be true for a minute.
We have already intuited it. I'm like, no, what?
So your mic is cutting out just a little bit. I think because you're getting so excited, which is kind of what we do in this work. But this is me dropping into session, y'all. I want to know which of those you're like, yep, I can take that on, and which of those you can't for yourself. So about business, strength, sensuality, professional creativity, hardworking.
So there were 2 of them that I had a reaction to. All meaning these 2 really stood out, like the sensuality and the. Read them again. I'm sorry. Read it one more time.
Yeah. About business, strength, sensuality, professional creativity, hardworking.
Okay. So the sensuality, the hardworking, and the about business. And I think the sensuality, because when I think about business, I'm like, where does that fit? The hardworking, that actually makes me, it's true, but it makes me a little sad because, you know, when you say yes to one thing, you have to say no to something else. And so throughout most of my career in this coaching realm, you know, when you have your own business, you're everything. You're marketing, you're finance, you can't call it a department. So I feel like sometimes I probably work too hard. I don't feel like sometimes I work too hard.
Right.
And about business, I think what was the trigger there? I think it kind of ties into the whole same thing with the hardworking. Like, yes, and I want to up the creativity more.
Yeah.
But they almost feel like in some ways they have to be on opposite ends of the spectrum sometimes.
The dreams lead us into some more reflective work. It would be interesting to sit with that and journal with that a little bit. One of the things you might want to do is to tell the dream from the perspective of Beyonce and see what comes out. It would be interesting to kind of go through and see what she notices about this other person who's having a wedding on her same day, to get a new perspective of some of that. So symbolically, getting married is about a vow and a commitment and a promise and a covenant. The tone of this dream feels like a really positive tone. So what I would ask the question is, where in my waking life am I making a positive commitment, or am I excited about a promise or a covenant or a commitment, I guess is the best word, that I'm committing to a partnership in some aspect of my life that is celebratory. And also the word maturing comes up for me, like a little bit more like the next level of maturing.
Yeah.
And just to get to all of the other, there's a whole bunch of other symbols in here. And I know we don't have a full 1 hour session, you and me right now. So I have to like abbreviate our
I'll hop on your schedule. It's great. I know where you live.
So the sensuality thing, there's two things for me. The first is your work as with relationships is about intimacy. And so you probably are much more, this is my projection, you're actually more comfortable with intimacy. You model that for other people, is what I'm trying to say. And the second is, it is interesting that there's this big parade on a bed that like maybe reflects that discomfort for you with her projecting that sensuality into her business. So it's almost like, in the dream state, one of the perspectives is that you, the dreamer, are your ego. And so your ego may be seeing that inflated version, that Beyonce is the sort of inflated version of integrating sensuality into work and business. And does that fit? And isn't that a little bit, she's parading it in the streets on a bed,
Yeah.
So that makes sense to me, of that like inflation of that image.
That's interesting, because when I think about it that way, I mean, that does track. Like when I saw it in the dream, my sense wasn't like, oh my God, what is she doing? Like that wasn't it. It was, oh, that's cool. But there wasn't the sense of like, I should have done that. No. Like I could see it for her. Like for her, that makes total sense. It's on brand.
Right.
Like that was the sense that I got. I wasn't like, that tracks. You're Beyonce. Of course, you're going to have a parade on the street with you on a bed. Probably shooting a video in the middle of your wedding. Like, yeah, that's the sense I had.
So again, it leads into some more questions of like, if you could continue this dream, what would you want to happen? Which you don't have to answer now, but I
want her to come to my reception so we can dance together. Well, no, I don't want her to dance.
It sounds like that mentality of, I do this a lot of times with celebrities that I think we would get along. I'm like, I just kind of wish they could meet me.
I'm going to jump in and say that with the popularity of this podcast, you both will be able to get to meet who you want to meet. So but I will say, I want to jump in and say, first of all, Dr. Willis, thank you for being a part of the show. You can have a full 1 hour session. I mean, you can, Dr. Willis, you know her, but I mean, everybody can have a full 1 hour session with Sweet Georgia Pam and get insight like this, because there are things, I mean, it's every week. She doesn't get these ahead of time. She's doing this as we speak and coming up with such great insight. So, Dr. Willis, where can people reach out to you about what you do again?
Yeah, so go to healingstablemissouri.com. What I have there is, it's a roadmap that you can use in your parenting or in your partnership on the 5 steps that you can take to start breaking free from stable misery today. And you will immediately get an email from me with more contact information. But I like to invite people to enter into my world through that so that we can stay connected.
Fantastic. And if you know Beyonce, then send her there too. And then for Pam, of course, sweetgeorgiapam.com. 6 Nights to Better Dream Recalls, a free guide she has there for you. I notice I'm speaking for Pam. I didn't ask Pam where to go. I'm just going to tell you. Sweet Georgia Pam is her handle on social media. You can DM her there. We would love to have you as a guest on the show. We would love to hear your dreams, have Pam interpret your dream, give you some insight on your dream. If you're watching on YouTube, then leave it in the comments. DM her, Sweet Georgia Pam, if you are on the socials. And go to her website, and sweetgeorgiapam.com. You can email her there, and we have you on the show. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you. Love you.
Bye.
The content in this podcast is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Pam Muller is not a licensed mental health professional. If you or someone you know suffers from severe, persistent nightmares, please seek medical help.